as we count down to the start of free agency. It's been a wild ride on day two. Adam Schefter with breaking news. What can you tell us about Philip Rivers?
Susie, moments ago, the Indianapolis Colts and Philip Rivers reached agreement on a one-year deal that will make Philip Rivers the Colts quarterback this upcoming season. Creates a very interesting scenario here where they are a playoff caliber team. They bring in a playoff caliber quarterback, and he takes over now as the Colts quarterback. They also have Jacoby Brissett. You wonder now if they'll be able to get some trade material for him or they hold on to him to play with Philip Rivers. But Philip Rivers is on his way to Indianapolis to play with the Indianapolis Colts. People thought this would happen all along, right? Philip Rivers, Frank Reich, who he played with in San Diego, the Colts head coach, and Nick Sirianni, the Colts offensive coordinator. He's worked with them before. He knows how their offense works. He knows how it operates, and the Colts identified him. They went through a bunch of different quarterback options out there before ultimately settling on Rivers and that one-year deal that they just completed moments ago.
So many comfortable connections for Philip Rivers, as well as one of the best offensive lines in football. What more can you tell us?
Well, the one thing about Philip Rivers there is, as Adam just said, they explored other options. Some of those other options included, do we trade for a guy like Andy Dalton? But a trade would cost you a draft pick, and it's not going to be a first-round draft pick that the Bengals are going to ask for Andy Dalton. But the Colts gave up their one to get Buckner from the 49ers, and so Rivers fills this void while they continue to look for their quarterback of the future. In the meantime, the quarterback of the immediate future for the Carolina Panthers is going to be Teddy Bridgewater. The contract is not done yet, but they have been negotiating a 3-year contract in the $60 million range, about $20 million a year. Still working on the details like guarantees, and but was told it would certainly be done by the start of the new league year with Teddy Bridgewater finding a home there. Joe Brady, who was with the Saints kind of as an offensive analyst, so to speak. Actually, when Teddy was with the Saints those 2 years, to learn the offense, he spent time with Joe Brady, since Sean Payton and then were spending time with Drew Brees and Taysom Hill. So he knows Joe Brady, who's the offensive coordinator of the Panthers, and guess what? He also knows the NFC South pretty well from being with the Saints the past 2 years.
As the dominoes continue to fall in this decorated free agent quarterback class, let's bring in Lewis and Booger. Your perspective. Let's start with Philip Rivers and his fit there in Indy. Go ahead, Booger.
You know, Susan, when I look at the fit, when I look at the fit, to me, the fit is great. You know, we talked about the relationship between Philip Rivers and Frank Reich. We all know that. But more importantly, I just love what GM Chris Ballard is doing. They're in win now mode. They made the trade for DeForest Buckner, signed him to a deal averaging $21 million a year to shore up that defense. Offensively, we know what they have with T.Y. Hilton, this offensive line, Marlon Mack, and now you add a quarterback that's going to take care of the football and is familiar with the system. I just love what they're building in Indianapolis, and Chris Ballard is a general manager who understands what he wants. And Frank Reich said, if I can get better quarterback play, it's nothing against Jacoby Brissett because they paid him money to be the starting quarterback. I don't know if they'll trade him or not, but they have a quarterback. I think now they feel comfortable moving forward with, at least for 1 year, that they think that can get them not only into the playoffs, but advance them deeper because they think they are ready to win now.
Philip Rivers with a new beginning in Indianapolis. So, Lewis, how about if you handle Teddy Bridgewater and his fit there in Carolina? I'm sorry, we're going to bring in our Hall of Famer, Steve Young. All right, Steve, which direction would you like to go here? Which is the most compelling move to you so far?
Interesting that Cam Newton is the one that's kind of the odd man out. I like Philip Rivers in Indianapolis. I think Frank and him are best friends. He's gonna get the most out of him. It looks like teams are willing to go to stretch for a one-year plan. I mean, that's never been heard of before. Like, we got a team that needs to win now. We get free agency now. The full measure of it is we want to get really great players who are on their rookie contracts and try to go win it. The 49ers are trying to do that right now as well. So, in that way, it makes sense. Let's Philip, come in. Don't be reckless like you were last year. Don't be. You don't have to carry the whole thing. You have a coach that you really see eye to eye with. Fine. And Jacoby Brissett, you can't let him go. I mean, he's a quality quarterback. You can't have nobody other than a 38-year-old Philip Rivers. So I can't imagine them trading him or unless they have they want to go draft somebody. But that's interesting to me. Also, Teddy Bridgewater replacing Cam Newton in some ways. I know Cam was missing a lot of last year, but that they've moved on from Cam Newton. To me, Susie, this is a big deal that the Carolina Panthers have officially told Cam Newton, you are not a part of our future, and we bring in Teddy Bridgewater, which is very much like, the mobility, the things that Cam does. And so the people in Carolina who love Cam are probably saying, well, wait a second. What is Cam healthy? If he's healthy, why don't we keep him? So Carolina has a lot of questions to answer.
Steve, it's great to have you with us. Anxious to hear your take on Tom Brady as well. So stand by. Let's get some reaction here from the group on Philip Rivers and this new beginning. And Adam has tweeted out $25 million for 1 year.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me. This has been speculated for a while. When they re-sign Anthony Costanzo when he's 38 years old, you need a really good offensive line for Philip Rivers. You think about what they've done in the last 24 hours. They've obviously solidified their offense. They traded for DeForest Buckner. When you think about what's going on right now in the AFC South between them and Tennessee, it looks like there's some separation between Jacksonville and certainly what happened in Houston. So I think this is a really good move for Indianapolis. And as Booger said, it looks like they're putting their chips at the table for 1 year. But I think he's in a situation where he could be successful. He obviously knows the offense and arguably going to the best offensive line in football.
Can I say Philip Rivers is just one of the best people in the NFL. I mean, he is so sincere and such a great person. And I know 2 seasons ago when he didn't get the job done in the divisional round against the Patriots, there's so many people around the NFL that were just wanting him to prevail and to get that done in the postseason. It didn't happen. And then even last year when the Chargers lost their final 3 games to end the season and to not build upon that and get back into the postseason. And it was very disappointing for Philip Rivers, very disappointing for the Chargers. Not what he would like to see from himself, to have a season where you have 23 touchdowns, 20 interceptions. So I know this opportunity for Philip Rivers in Indianapolis just represents a chance for him to reestablish himself. He's got that same chip, fire, hunger, even that Tom Brady does, and like to prove himself in Indianapolis.
And that childlike exuberance for the game, no doubt passion and energy. Let's bring in Louis Riddick now. Louis, what's your take on Rivers now going to Indy?
Yeah, look, I've been a big fan of Philip Rivers, in particular the cerebral part of his game for a long, long time, because he has used that to really mask some of the shortcomings that he has physically. I'm a little bit skeptical of this deal. Look, I understand the connection with Frank Reich, and I understand that familiarity is really what drives these kind of transactions, and I'm all for it. But look, when you watch Phillips play last year, and we watched him down in Mexico City, this is a guy who made mistake after mistake after mistake that was very uncharacteristic of somebody of his years. And I think a lot of that is due to the fact that his physical skills are just declining. They just are. They're just not the same. He just doesn't have the same horsepower in his arm. Anytime he tried to drive the ball down the field, it was either late, underthrown, it was getting picked off. He made costly errors in the red zone, turned the football over at some of the worst times. I personally think, look, for a football team like Indianapolis that many of us believe is on the cusp of doing some big things, I don't see Philip as the kind of guy who can put you over the hump unless you have a great supporting cast around him. I don't think he's going to make everyone else better. This is very interesting to me because I love Chris Ballard and a lot of the things that he's doing. This is just one that, for me, I'm going to watch with a little bit more skepticism. And it's not because I don't respect Philip Rivers to the nth degree. It's just because I see his, like, if you compare him to Tom Brady, I see his physical status at this point much differently than Tom's.
All right, so time will tell. Philip Rivers joining the Colts as we count down to the new league year, and more breaking news. A lot of difficult decisions for the Dallas Cowboys this offseason. Moving on from a foundational player, Jason Witten, and Todd Archer is reporting his intent is to sign with the Las Vegas Raiders. And Adam Schefter joins us now with more on that.
Well, how about this, Susie? Jason Witten is going to sign a 1-year deal worth up to $4.75 million, according to Todd Archer. And he now will join John Gruden in Las Vegas. They might as well bring everybody out there from the Monday Night Football booth and make it one big party. Every former Monday Night Football analyst is now with the Raiders. John Gruden, Mike Mayock's former TV guy, Jason Witten. If you've done TV, you might be out there. Louis Riddick might be playing defensive back for the Raiders this year, for all we know. We'll have to see how that plays out. But the fact of the matter is, Jason Witten brings great character to the Las Vegas Raiders. He will be an example for the young players in that locker room, guys like Darren Waller, the great young tight end from last year, to look up to. But Jason Witten is going to play for the Las Vegas Raiders. And think about this, Susie. I know Tom Brady gets the headlines today, leaving New England 20 years, the great decorated career, 6 Super Bowls, 4 Super Bowl MVPs. But it's hard to imagine Jason Witten playing in another uniform other than the Dallas Cowboys. and Jason Witten this year will be a Las Vegas Raider. So that also seems a little bit strange, but these are the times we're living in when players change teams, and obviously that's a big move for the Raiders, picking up Jason Witten. And also early in the day, the Raiders also signed the former Rams linebacker Corey Littleton as well.
All right, so let's see here, Adam, from Monday Night Football.